Imagine you're lost in the wilderness. You've been walking for hours. The sun is relentless. Your throat feels dry. Every step takes more energy than the last. Then, you find water, a small pond hidden between the trees. The surface is covered with leaves. The water is brown, cloudy, almost motionless. It doesn't look safe, as you stand there wondering if it's worth the risk. A deer quietly walks out of the forest. Without hesitation, it lowers its head and drinks. A few minutes later, a bird lands beside the pond. It drinks too. Then another animal arrives, and another. None of them stop to inspect the water. None of them seem concerned about what might be hiding beneath the surface. But if you drank from that exact same pond, there's a good chance you become seriously ill. You could suffer from severe diarrhea, a dangerous infection, or even diseases that could become life-threatening without treatment. So, why can animals drink water that humans are always told to avoid? Do they have stronger stomachs? A more powerful immune system? Or are they simply built differently? At first, the answer seems obvious. But as you'll soon discover, the obvious answer isn't the right one. At first, the answer seems incredibly simple. Animals must have stronger bodies than we do. After all, they drink from muddy rivers, rain puddles, small ponds, even water that looks completely undrinkable. And somehow, they keep surviving. So it's easy to believe that animals simply have tougher stomachs or stronger immune systems. But here's the problem. If that were true, animals would almost never get sick from dirty water. Yet they do. Wild deer can be infected by parasites. Birds carry bacteria that spread through contaminated water. Even predators can become seriously ill after drinking from polluted rivers or lakes. Some diseases spread through entire animal populations. Others quietly kill young animals before they ever reach adulthood. Nature is far from disease-free. The difference is, most of us never see it. When a wild animal becomes seriously sick, it doesn't go to a veterinarian. It doesn't stay home to recover. It simply becomes weaker, slower, an easier target for predators. Or it dies somewhere deep in the wilderness, where no one is around to notice. The animals we usually see are the survivors, the healthy ones, not the countless others that never made it. So perhaps animals aren't surviving because they're immune. Perhaps we're only seeing the ones that survived. And if that's true, then we've been asking the wrong question from the very beginning. If animals aren't surviving because they're immune, then maybe we've been blaming the wrong thing all along. Because dirty water itself isn't dangerous. Water is just H2O. It has no intention of making you sick. The real danger is everything living inside it. Every muddy pond, every slow-moving river, every puddle left behind after the rain, contains an invisible world. A single drop of untreated water can hold millions of microscopic organisms. Most of them are completely harmless. Some even help keep ecosystems alive. But hidden among them are organisms that have spent millions of years evolving one simple goal: to survive. Some are bacteria, tiny single-celled organisms that multiply at astonishing speeds. Others are viruses, far smaller than bacteria, unable to reproduce on their own. Instead, they invade living cells and turn those cells into factories that create more viruses. Then there are parasites. Some are so small they can only be seen under a microscope. Others grow large enough to live inside an animal's body for years. The frightening part isn't how dangerous they are. It's how impossible they are to detect. You can't smell them. You can't taste them. You can't see them. A mountain stream may look crystal clear. A forest pond may appear perfectly natural. But appearances tell you almost nothing. An infected animal may have walked through that water only hours earlier. Heavy rain may have washed animal waste into the stream. Or bacteria may have been multiplying there for days without anyone noticing. The water looks exactly the same. But inside, an invisible world is waiting. And the moment you take a single sip, that world enters yours. The moment you swallow that water, the battle begins. At first, everything seems normal. The water travels down your throat, past your esophagus, and into your stomach. If you've ever heard that stomach acid is powerful, that's true. In fact, it's one of the strongest natural acids found inside the human body. With a pH of around 1.5 to 3.5, your stomach is acidic enough to break down food and destroy millions of harmful microorganisms every single day. For most germs, this is where the journey ends. But not for all of them. Some bacteria have evolved special ways to survive acidic environments. Some parasites are protected by tough, outer shells that stomach acid struggles to break apart. And some viruses need only a tiny number of particles to start an infection. If even a few of them survive, they continue moving into your intestines. And that's exactly where they want to be. Your intestines are warm, moist, rich in nutrients. To invading microbes, it's the perfect place to grow. So begin multiplying rapidly. Others attach themselves to the intestinal wall. Some release toxins that damage your cells. At first, you don't notice anything. Then your immune system detects the invasion. Within seconds, millions of immune cells begin communicating with each other. Chemical signals spread through your body. Blood vessels expand. Inflammation begins. Your body is no longer trying to digest food. It's trying to survive. That's why your stomach twists. That's why you feel nauseous. That's why you vomit. Or spend the next several hours running to the bathroom. Your body isn't malfunctioning. It's doing exactly what evolution designed it to do. Remove the invaders as quickly as possible. Every cramp, every fever, every painful symptom is evidence that your immune system is fighting a war you can never see. But here's the interesting part. Animals fight that same war every single day. So, if animals fight the same invisible battle, why do they seem perfectly fine? The answer is surprisingly simple. Because we're only seeing part of the story. Imagine walking through a forest. You see healthy deer, healthy birds, healthy wolves, healthy wild boars. It's easy to assume that every animal is doing just fine. But the sick ones are missing. A young deer weakened by a parasite may never escape its first predator. A bird suffering from severe intestinal infection may never complete its migration. A small mammal infected after drinking contaminated water may simply disappear into the undergrowth, never to be seen again. Nature doesn't wait for recovery. It doesn't slow down for the weak. Unlike humans, wild animals don't have doctors. They don't receive antibiotics. They don't rest in a hospital bed. If they become too weak to eat, too weak to run, or too weak to defend themselves, nature quickly removes them from the population. What survives is what we get to see. This creates a powerful illusion. It makes us believe that wild animals rarely get sick, when in reality, the sick ones often don't survive long enough to be noticed. But survival isn't only about luck. Over millions of years, evolution has quietly shaped every species. Animals constantly exposed to certain bacteria gradually developed better ways to live alongside them. Not perfect protection, not complete immunity, just a slightly better chance of surviving. Generation after generation. That tiny advantage slowly became adaptation. And adaptation changed everything. Because evolution never creates perfect organisms. It only creates organisms that are good enough to survive long enough to reproduce. That's the only goal nature has ever cared about. If evolution has helped so many animals tolerate the microbes around them, why didn't humans evolve the same way? The answer lies in how evolution actually works. Evolution doesn't have a goal. It doesn't try to create the strongest species, or the smartest, or the healthiest. It simply favors whatever increases the chances of survival and reproduction. Different environments create different challenges, and different challenges create different solutions. Take vultures, for example. They feed on rotting carcasses that would make most animals dangerously ill. Over millions of years, their digestive system evolved to handle that lifestyle. Their stomach acid is extremely acidic. Their gut microbes are different. Their entire biology is built around eating food that most species avoid. Now, compare that to humans. Our ancestors weren't scavengers. They weren't built to survive on decaying meat or contaminated water every day. Instead, they became something else. Problem solvers. Rather than waiting for evolution to slowly change their bodies, humans began changing the world around them. They learned where to find cleaner water. They stored it, protected it, and eventually found ways to make unsafe water safer to drink. This wasn't because our bodies failed. It was because our brains gave us another option. Instead of adapting biologically, we adapted through knowledge. That decision changed the course of human history. Because once you can change your environment, you no longer need your body to solve every problem on its own. For most of human history, clean water was never guaranteed. People drank from rivers, lakes, streams, the same places where animals drank. And because of that, waterborne diseases were once among the deadliest threats to human life. Entire villages could become sick from a single contaminated water source. Children were especially vulnerable, long before anyone understood what bacteria or viruses even were. Human societies had already noticed a simple pattern. Communities with cleaner water were healthier. Over centuries, that observation changed everything. Wells were dug. Aqueducts carried fresh water across great distances. Cities built drainage systems to separate drinking water from waste. Later came filtration, disinfection, and modern water treatment. None of these inventions changed the human body. They changed the odds. Every improvement reduced the chance that dangerous microbes would ever enter our bodies in the first place. In other words, instead of making stronger immune systems, we built a world where our immune systems had fewer battles to fight. This is something no other species has ever done on the same scale. Beavers build dams. Birds build nests. Ants build colonies. Humans built sanitation systems. One protects a home. The other protects an entire civilization. And perhaps that's our greatest evolutionary advantage. Not adapting faster than nature, but learning how to reshape nature itself. So, can animals drink dirty water? Sometimes they can. Sometimes they can't. Just like us. The real difference was never about being stronger or having a magical immune system. Every living creature shares the same planet, the same water, and many of the same invisible enemies. The difference is how each species learned to survive them. Some evolved stronger stomachs. Some developed different gut microbes. Some simply accepted the risks that came with their environment. Humans chose another path. Instead of changing our bodies, we changed our world. We built wells, pipes, filters, sanitation systems, not because nature made us weaker, but because intelligence allowed us to solve problems in a different way. Today, turning on a faucet takes only a second. It's something most of us never stop to appreciate. But behind every glass of clean water are thousands of years of human knowledge, engineering, discovery, and countless lives saved. So the next time you see a wild animal drinking from a muddy pond, don't think of it as stronger than you. Think of it as surviving in the only way it knows how. And remember, one of the greatest inventions in human history wasn't a machine, or a weapon, or even electricity. It was something far simpler: the ability to make clean water available to millions of people. Because sometimes, the greatest survival advantage isn't having a stronger body. It's building a better world. Thank you for watching.